Hello and welcome to our video about the Canadian Niagara Falls. Niagara Falls in general is one of the most famous natural wonders in the world and a popular tourist destination for people all over the world. In this video we will take a tour of Niagara Falls and share some interesting facts and stories about this amazing natural phenomenon. Niagara Falls consists of three falls: Horseshoe Falls, American Falls and Bridal Veil Falls. The Horseshoe Falls are the largest and most famous of the three and located on the Canadian side. It is 2,700 meters wide, as you can already see, and has a drop of about 53 meters. The American and the Bridal Veil Falls are on the American side. You can always see them in the background. Niagara Falls itself was discovered in 1535 by French explorer Jacques Cartier. Since then they have attracted many famous visitors, including President Theodore Roosevelt, Queen Victoria of England and Marilyn Monroe. After our first discoveries, we went over to the city of Clifton Hill right next to Niagara Falls and admired a Niagara oldtimer show. Pretty cool, isn't it? Drive it like you stole it has somehow become my favorite saying. Now a quick look at our first of two accommodations we had in Clifton Hill. At the beginning we decided on an Airbnb apartment which was probably equipped in gaming style. Really vintage, small slot machines were everywhere, various game consoles were available, and there were science fiction and fantasy books on the tables. So pretty cool accommodation, we can highly recommend it. In the evening we started to explore Clifton Hill by ourselves. We went to the famous Street of Fun by the Falls, a street full of amusement parks, museums, arcades and restaurants. Some of the most popular attractions here are the new Sky Wheel, which we also rode, a Ferris wheel with amazing views of Niagara Falls, the Guinness World Records Museum, the Ripley's Believe It or Not Museum, which we also went in, and Nightmare's Fear Factory. As you can see, we've been inside a few, including 3D neon mini golf, and for those who would like to shop, Clifton Hill still has a variety of gift shops and boutiques where you can buy souvenirs and stuff, which we did a lot. Plus, of course, there are many restaurants offering different types of cuisine, Italian, American, and some even have a view of the falls. But of course, the price with falls view is usually a bit higher. Clifton Hill is also known for its nightlife with a variety of bars and clubs as well as casinos, all open until the early hours, making it a popular spot for tourists and locals alike, with something for all tastes and ages. Mandy has tried a bit more shooting range, so let's take you along with us. As a first summary, Clifton Hill is like a little Las Vegas on the Canadian side. Many think it's exaggerated, but we felt extremely comfortable because this variety of offers didn't diminish the beautiful Niagara Falls, which crashed directly 100 meters further down, but enriched them. You can also go karting there. There are just all sorts of fun things in Clifton Hill to do. To give you an even better impression of the city, we take you on a little drive through Clifton Hill and its attractions. Clifton Hill looks like it was designed on the drawing board, but it does have a ground core where the locals live and go about their everyday business. But nevertheless, you can already see that everything around Niagara Falls is very touristy, with lots of motels, hotels, restaurants and souvenir shops. This, of course, developed because of the falls and their attraction for us tourists. There's all sorts of things to see, such as the speedway racer here on the right, an adventure mini golf, and among others, the Ripley's 4D moving theater here at the crosswalk where we are standing right now. As we drive by here on the left, you can see the Ripley's moving theater. Right next to it, the famous horror house, and on the right, the before mentioned Ripley's Believe It or Not. There's definitely no boredom in this area. In the Canada Trading Company you can buy a lot of souvenirs, and the Great Canadian Midway, also on the right, is an arcade hall where you can play games and visit a 4D cinema. As well, you can see lots of restaurants like Wendy's, like the Niagara Brewing Company, there are Rainforest Cafe, etc, etc. As you can see, you can actually drive along the falls by car. That's typically North American. It's no different in Canada than in the United States. A bit of the newer neighborhood has been seen in the background with the Skylon Tower housing a restaurant with excellent views from the top of the falls, from where you can see far across to the American side. That's where the luxury hotels are too, while where we are driving now, Clifton Hill is more old school. Still very chic, but just getting a bit old. The older casinos, the older hotels, but most of it also reasonably renovated. The huge guitar straight ahead on the wall of the house naturally points to the Hard Rock Cafe Niagara Falls. It's a typical Hard Rock Cafe with a shop and a special mix of goodies and souvenirs for a Hard Rock Cafe. There's also a Starbucks inside and various other shops, such as an organic superfood shop for salads and co. The Niagara Brewery and cheap accommodations such as motels are also located here. And of course, the well-known chains from the USA such as Burger King, DQ and Hooters are all available. Our little tour ends when we turn towards downtown Clifton Hill. There's also an Applebee's and the cheaper supermarkets, which we recommend that you shop in if you don't want to spend money on eating out all the time. And now let's continue with great views of the stars of this movie, the sensational Niagara Falls. After this very nice first impressions of Clifton Hill, it was time again to focus on the actual spectacle, namely the Niagara Falls, and to enjoy the view of the Horseshoe Falls in particular. This view is from our new hotel room in the Marriott Hotel, which we booked at a special price to have a spectacular view of the falls from above. You can exactly see what the waterfalls at sunset from above are like, and you can see for yourself an incomparable natural spectacle. Without a doubt, they are the real stars of the region here, the waterfalls. Clifton Hill is super cool, there are great activities to do, there's a lot to explore around it, but it always pulls you back to the fall limit. You can even touch the water when you stand there on the promenade and the spray rises as a mist. It really is phenomenal. We then did some shopping and even found a kind of monopoly in the style of Niagara Falls. We wanted to buy it first, but transport is always a bit tricky, so we left it there and went for a little walk in the direction of the parks, which are also very diverse around Niagara Falls and which offer great views of the Clifton Hill Niagara skyline. Here's also the Rainbow Bridge, which connects Canada with the United States. We were also surprised by the moose on the toilet. And here's a nice view over the park to the waterfalls and the skyline in the background. And finally, we had a little tourist walk to Coca-Cola, Hershey's and the Hard Rock Cafe itself. These were some kind of the standard options that you as a tourist would like to take with you. The vintage Coca-Cola store was made extra cool. Another highlight you can visit is the so-called Whitewater Walk. For a small fee you will be taken down in an elevator to the path along the Niagara River, which is laid out on wooden walkways. It is really spectacular. You get up close to the roaring crowds, and these would make life extremely difficult for any canoeist. There have been some tragedies right here, and one must never underestimate the power of the river. We walked along the path as long as it was possible, made some selfies, and just became stunned by the atmosphere and the river. All in all, it can be said that this whitewater walk is highly recommended for everyone. Afterwards, we took the elevator back upstairs and we fooled around a bit. I disguised myself as a little Hershey's ball and sent you greetings from there. And then we again participated a really spectacular experience, probably the best and most spectacular thing we were ever allowed to take part in at Niagara Falls here in Canada. The Hornblower ship took us onto the water towards the falls, where we could experience the might of nature, the power of water and the incredible strength of the elements. Right from the start, the spray hits our faces, but it didn't bother us. We stood at the very front of the railing and had this great view of the skyline and Horseshoe Falls. That was really spectacular. Of course it was wet, but you just haven't experienced anything like that before, and we really recommend it to anyone who's ever been to Niagara Falls. Over there, at the American Falls, you could see how the visitors on the platform were able to discover these falls from the side and from below. Also very spectacular for sure, but we would always prefer the Canadian side. And now just a little bit more facts about Niagara Falls itself. They have a long and very rich history that goes back to the natives of North America. The falls were revered as a sacred site by the indigenous people and served as an important gathering place for the annual fishing trips. Then, about the 17th century, European settlers discovered Niagara Falls and began to settle in the area. Over the years, the region has developed into an important trading center and of course still today an important source of energy for industry. From the 19th century, Niagara Falls became a popular destination for tourists from all over the world. The government began to develop and improve the area to meet the growing need for tourism infrastructure. In the 1920s, the first suspension bridge over Niagara Falls was opened, making the falls easier to access, and since then Niagara Falls has become one of the most famous tourist destinations in North America. Here you can see the incredible power of the water again, and now you have to consider that various adventurers have thrown themselves down there with barrels, and not all survived. Already weird, but maybe you didn't have any other leisure activities at that time. Today, the Niagara Falls region is a major economic engine for both Canada and the United States and offers a wide variety of activities and attractions for visitors from around the world. This whole history of Niagara Falls, this spectacular development, is a testament to the beauty and power of nature and the inexhaustible fascination it holds in people. Emerged from the glacier of the Ice Age, an incredible structure has crystallized out here, which is shrinking year by year and carries less water with it. It is said that in 50,000 years Niagara Falls will be gone completely. But until then, there is still a little time to enjoy this with the view of the Rainbow Bridge and all the other beauties. So the trip was slowly coming to an end. We actually spent a few days here, stayed about 5 to 6 nights. That's a disproportionate amount for Niagara Falls. North Americans don't usually have that much vacation time and are only there for a day trip or weekend getaway. But Europeans don't stop there much longer on a road trip either. Since we had a little more time, we thoroughly enjoyed exploring a lot without being in a hurry. On the last day we had a fishbowl cocktail, looked again at Believe It or Not, and saw the waterfalls spectacularly glowing in the dark. We don't want to deprive you of that, and if you are most interested in our videos, subscribe to us, leave a like, comment and stay with us here at Urlaubslust 24. All the best, see you next time and thank you very much.